Should I get a Sprinter/cargo van or even a box truck in 2025? We'll talk about that on this segment of the Get Geezer. It is not my place to tell you that you shouldn't do what I just suggested, or what the question is, getting a Sprinter/cargo van or a box truck. The reason why it's not my place to tell you that you shouldn't is because you're a grown person and you're going to do whatever you want anyway. It may be good that you have that dogged stubbornness about yourself, or that tunnel vision, because it may help you to weather, to deflect, to withstand any of the onslaught of criticism and insults and unsolicited comments that people are going to say to you. You know what I mean by unsolicited comments? My daughter, when she was in grade school, she didn't know how to say unsolicited at the time, so she used to say unsolicited, and we still joke about that. Even though she'll be 28 in January, we still joke about that. So if you don't listen to anything else that I share in this segment of the Get Geezer, the most important thing that I can tell you is that if you do decide to get one or both, know where you want to pursue, know what you want to pursue, know what space you want to pursue. If it's a cash game opportunity in which you're offering a service for cash, or you're rendering services for cash, transactions and all, know exactly what you want to do, because if you don't have that roadmap, it's going to be very easy for you to stray off course and find yourself shipwrecked. So if this is your first time checking out the Get Geezer, or you've not checked out many segments of the Get Geezer, I'm sharing this, or I'm qualifying myself by noting that I've been in this space again for going on 3 years, and each year I have grossed 6 figures. I have grossed at least 6 figures. And how I've grossed 6 figures, each year the strategy has been different. I've adapted as I've gone. I've seen this market change dramatically each year, and somehow I've been able to remain viable in it. Although I tell you, man, there are days it fucks with my blood pressure. It really does. In fact, the last week or so, the last 2 weeks has been fucking with my blood pressure. So this space is not easy. Can you succeed? Yeah, you can succeed. In fact, that's probably why you think that's why you're looking into getting a Sprinter/cargo van or even a box truck. You believe that you can succeed. And so for that reason, again, it is not my place to discourage you, but it is my place to share with you tangible, pertinent, substantive information that may help you make your best decision, whether it is worth pursuing the purchase and ownership of a Sprinter/cargo van and or a box truck. So then, if you know what you want to do, then you need to know what vehicle that's going to help you accomplish what you want to do. If in the pursuit of a Sprinter/cargo van, there are 3 prominent brands out there. There's your Mercedes Sprinter, there's your Dodge Ram ProMaster series, and then there's your Ford Transit series. Personally, I have a Ford Transit 250 medium roof, long wheelbase van. I have been on record as saying, at least as early as 2023, if I had to do it all over again, at least my initial pursuit was to buy this type of van, but I could not find one at the time. But yet I wanted to enter into the market. If I had to do it over again, I would have bought a F-150 extended body, long wheelbase, high roof van. That's what I would have done. Why haven't I gotten one? Well, I've been paying a van note. Another reason why I hadn't gotten it is because I came into this with a very high overhead. High overhead for reasons that you could say were my fault. But I have worked to reduce that overhead. And if I were in the same position with the same overhead now, I'd probably be in a better position of having paid off the van. But those are mistakes on my part. That's another thing. When you're starting out, you may not be in the best financial position. You may not be in the best credit position. But understand your personal costs first, and that can you manage both personal expense, personal costs, and then the added cost of operating such equipment. I was able to figure that out. And it put a lot of pressure on me to also reach a break point within a certain period of time. I anticipated that it would take me 6 to 7 months, and I was right on schedule in terms of hitting that break point. But in the process of hitting that break point, all of that kind of came to roost at the beginning of 2024. And I nearly was out of business by this time last year, 2024. Even though I had done many of the right things, all of that caught up with me. So there's two things: knowing what space you want to enter, making sure that you find the right vehicle for what you're doing, and then making sure that your costs are manageable, because costs can run you out of business, regardless of what people say. And again, I'm going to talk about the cost in terms of what nearly put me out of business. It was my maintaining the commercial insurance. I carried a $1,520 a month commercial insurance payment, and it got to a point that I could barely make the payments. In fact, I'd fallen behind on my payments, and I was within days of watching my coverage being canceled when I happened to have some things fall my way so that I could get caught up. Now, I'm sharing some shit here that I probably shouldn't be sharing. But if you're gonna enter into this space with the equipment that we're talking about, my experience, the reminder of my experience may help you down the road. So that if you're pursuing a box truck, I got a Geezer 16. I don't have a lift gate. The reason why I got it is because I had the money to pay for it outright, and it was pretty well maintained despite the age of the vehicle. When I looked when the guy flipped over the cab and I looked at that engine, I saw all that shiny shit there. I'm like, yeah, this guy's been taking care of this truck. And I found out even when I had brake work done earlier this summer, yeah, I was right in terms of the vehicle being well maintained. It was a good buy. But if I had more money, as a friend of mine has shared with me, man, if you could have held out longer, you could have gotten all that you were looking for. And then he's right. I was looking for a 16 with a liftgate. In fact, there were two that I came across. One guy was kind of ambivalent about getting rid of it. He's like, well, I don't know yet, man. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of it. And then come to find out, he did get rid of it a year later. At least he's talked of getting rid of it for sure a year later. The other guy, he didn't really allow me to test drive the truck like I wanted to. But the deciding factor was when I noticed in the box the flooring needed to be replaced, at a friend's suggestion, I went to a place that did that type of work. And he told me it probably cost me about $2,500, $3,000, which is a significant portion of what that truck, we had agreed to a number, that the amount that he was telling me, $2,500, $3,000, was roughly 40% of what I was going to agree to pay for that truck. So he was going to sell me that truck for $6,500. I'd have to put another $2,500, $3,000 in it. That would not have been a good investment. Now, the Geezer 16 that I got needed some work done on the flooring, but that was plywood, and it cost me $100 to do that. Big difference. So, if you know what you're going to get into, then you can decide on the correct vehicle. Just don't get a van or a box truck just to be getting, because you still have to make money once you get it. Even if you pay cash for it, you got to pay insurance. You got to pay insurance. There's maintenance. I don't think you get a van or a box truck just for show. I don't think so. I think you get it to make money. So I've talked for roughly 10 minutes, and if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gabe Geezer or any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. So then, we've covered a bunch of things in about 10 minutes, and I really don't have much else to share. So, you ask, well, should I pursue gig apps? Should I pursue the load board / brokered opportunities? You know what? Everybody's going to tell you that the market is beyond saturated. I'll tell you this same thing. The market is beyond saturation, man. And it's beyond saturated for a lot of reasons. There are those who got into the market back in 2020, 2021, when there was this previously unprecedented demand for things to be shipped because of the shutdowns. And drivers were able to command rates that they'd never been able to command before, at least in recent memory. And there's been talk that it's going to take another 3 to 4 years, maybe even 5 years, for the market on its own to correct itself in terms of supply and demand. Then there's also the talk now about non-domiciled folk with non-domiciled commercial driver's license people who've gotten their CDLs revoked, that they'd be looking to get into this kind of space, the non-CDL space, in order to keep things going for themselves, which could cause more pressure, more of a downward push in rates because of what they were known to do, what they were notorious to do when they had a CDL. I think regardless, because people talk the way they do, it's not going to stop people from not getting into this space. That's why I keep saying, you're grown. You're grown. You're going to do what you're going to do anyway. So the question is, how are you going to manage it? So the way you manage it, cash game. You give yourself options by cash game, being able to provide other services other than those two. The other thing is you try to pursue contract opportunities. There's always the potential and the capacity of gaining contract opportunities. Personally, that is the missing link for me. Other than adding on a 26-foot box truck with a lift gate, from a strategy standpoint in terms of opportunities, contract is what I'm missing. And I've shared in recent Gig Geezer segment how I would love to have a contract. I would love to secure contracts, but I haven't been able to do so yet. But if you're going to get into this space, you've got to be able to have, multiple earnings opportunities, especially with a Sprinter slash cargo van and with a box truck. I can't say it enough. Y'all. With respect to insurance, there's only so many carriers out there that offer the coverages that you probably need. So the question is going to be, are you willing to pay for it? Will you be in a position to pay for it? If you're not in a position to pay for it, it serves you no good to even get a Sprinter slash cargo van or even a box truck. So you don't hear me always saying I wish you well or good luck and all that stuff, because I'm not going to say it. What I will tell you is that you better make your best decisions possible. And if you look to other sources for information or advice, make sure that you go to somebody who has a proven track record of having made it in this business or shown some longevity in this business. Because as with any business, it will chew you up and spit you out and keep on going. You will be a casualty much sooner than you think. So that's all to share for this segment of the Gig Geezer. If you don't like the content that's been provided in this segment or any other segment, you can always give my content a thumbs down, or you can unsubscribe. But if you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit the subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely love the comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane. May your grind be